All right, guys. Gonna pull the drive shaft out. Hey, look at my awesome exhaust here. Got 2 bolts holding my exhaust on. Gotta take the drive shaft off. Slide it out of the back of the transfer case. Got the world's brightest fucking flashlight here. There we go. Yeah. It's not terrible bright. Anyway, pull the drive shaft out. Take the transfer case off. There's, I think, 5 or 6 bolts, something like that. There. Then take the those 2 bolts there. That's transmission mount. Might as well take those. I'll take the front drive shaft off. Pull my exhaust off naturally, and just start unplugging shit. Pull the there's shifter linkage up here. Yeah, there, shifter linkage, which I'm gonna have to change back, I think, because I adjusted it for this Turbo 400. I needed to adjust it for a 4L80E, so I'm not sure if these are going to be in the right spot or not. Or I've got a whole nother over there. I've got a whole nother cross member, which might bolt in the same spot. Not really sure yet. Yep, just kind of. I got a different front drive shaft. I got a different rear drive shaft. I'm going to be reusing this transfer case. Got a different transmission sitting right over there next to my S10, which that's a fun project. Aside from that, boy, I hope I don't have to pull that driver's side header off. I might have to, huh? That could be a little tight. Boy, bell housing bolts are right fucking up there, ain't they? But anyway, yeah, you can kind of see up in there. So you got to pull the drive shaft, pull the rear drive shaft out, pull the transfer case out, pull the front drive shaft out, transmission cross member. I'm going to go ahead and leave the torsion bar cross member where it's at. But you can see I don't really have a whole lot of extra space. Like I said, if I did decide to do a drop bracket for the front axle, for the front diff, I'm slinging shit all over that fucking upper ball joint. Got a ripped boot there, and I know that CV axle is fucked. But anyway, I've got a lot of work to do under here, pulling the transmission out. You can put the new one in. That one has a new internal wiring harness on it that'll plug right into my TCI transmission controller, and got a bunch of new fluid. I pulled the pan off and checked on that one, make sure it's good to go. The part number on my torque converter, it's 242916, I think it is, which is a maximizer. They changed the product line, I guess. It's the same part number, I guess, but they changed the line number of it, and or they changed the name of it. Same number, but changed the name. And it says 2000 stall 4L80E converter. I think it sells for like $550, which is, I mean, it is what it is. But I've had mine for about 15 years, and as far as I recall, it's a pretty kick-ass converter. And anyway, I'm enough stalling. I gotta get some fucking work done. And my plugged in some wire and shit on this thing just to make sure everything's all good to go on this. I've got a whole harness that plugs right in to that new internal wiring harness. Just clips right in place perfectly on that internal wiring harness. Here's a handheld controller. Here's the actual TCU itself. There's wiring harness clips on it. And there's all my sensors and shit, like, yeah, battery positive and fucking battery negative. And this should be switched, I guess. 12-volt switched, and then there's all kinds of other shit in here. But, I mean, you can tell, like, TPS signal. I'm going to try to splice. I've got an adapter. There's a male and a female, and there's 3 wires that come off of it. Those, I think I'm going to go into my throttle position signal. They say you're not supposed to do that on Sniper, but I'm going to try it. If not, I'll try, there's a can. Deal. I might try to wire one of those in, coming from, well, the original Sniper deal. This plugs into a lap. God damn it. That's the USB cable that goes to my computer. There's only 2 wires that it uses. I guess the other 2 are like a positive and a ground for the handheld. So you only use two of the 4 wires. So I might be able to get, hopefully, like if it's a CAN bus, hopefully I can just take the signal right from the transmission, or from the Sniper computer, and just adapt it over. That way I don't have to mess with the RPM or the throttle position, which it's not that big of a fucking deal if I do. But aside from that, I think I need to get something done, so I gotta quit stalling. So there we go. That's the Turbo 400 transmission. Got to pull out. Then I'm gonna plug all the wiring harness in. You know, put the transfer case here. Make sure everything is good to go. Then I'll worry about pulling. Yeah. Then I'll worry about pulling some of this shit in here. I might compare that cross member to the one that I pulled out last night, and if they're the same, then I'll well, fuck, it doesn't really matter which one I fucking use, I guess. But that's the old transfer case that was originally in this truck. This is the transfer case out of that truck. There's like $750 for a new one. And I'm like, well, fuck, I'm pretty far away from getting that one going. This is the torque converter from TCI. They changed the model name. Now it's a not a Truck Master. It used to be a Truck Master Saturday Night Special. Now they call it a Maximizer. So this is part number 242916. Before, they didn't really say much about the stall speed. They just said plus 500 RPMs. And now they say this is a 2000 RPM stall converter. So, like I said, we got dipstick tube, transmission mount, front and rear drive shaft, which they probably need greased, but aside from that, I think they're okay. I went ahead and put tape around this when I took it off. I didn't want it to rust and shit. So maybe that's the one fucking smart thing I've done. But yep, I guess I'm gonna pull everything over. I guess I'll slide the transmission over there by the driver's door, because that's where I got the wiring harness and shit at. And I guess we'll go from there. Hey guys, I got my old Turbo 400 transmission out here. That's the 4LADE. You can tell just from looking at this angle here that is taller than the mounting points here. I think it was like 2.5 inches, something. Don't quote me on that, but is like 2.5 inches different. So unless there's holes already drilled in the frame to bolt the cross member up, I'm gonna have to be drilling some holes, because here are the cross members. Here's the one I pulled out. This is the one from the 480E. They're identical cross members. So I don't think I can use this plate, which that's not going to make a difference anyway. They're probably different thicknesses, and I guess I can measure them and double check on the thickness of them and shit. But that one's sticking out just a touch. This one's right around flush. No, it's recessed just a little bit. So yeah, I'll just put the torque converter on that guy, or sorry, not torque converter. Put the transfer case on that guy, because that's literally the one it came off of. And then you can tell I just used RTV to seal it instead of using a gasket. That seemed to work pretty well. I didn't have any leaks there. I had a pan gasket leaking. It was all busted up, busted to shit. But yep, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull or set the transfer case on there. Make sure all the wiring looks okay as far as the speedometer output and all that shit. And yep, I guess we'll just have to go from there. Like I said, here's my, and it's upside down, but you can get the point. And there's the part number. Like I said, back when I bought it, it was a Truckmaster Saturday Night Special, that part number. Now, if you look up the same part number, it's a Maximizer. So it's like a towing torque converter. So I don't know what the fuck that means, but and I pulled the, that's the one out of the Turbo 400. That thing is so fucking light compared to this guy. This thing's heavy as shit. And that one's got a shitload of fluid in it. This got nothing. So yeah, this thing's light as fuck. I mean, it's a fucking 12-inch converter. Like I said, this is a 12-inch converter also, but man, this thing's fucking heavy. Fuck me, it's heavy. So anyway, this has a torque converter clutch in it, or clutch pack, and it's got, I don't know if it's got actually heavier duty parts or what, but this is like a $600. I think when I bought it was like $650 for this fucking converter, or torque converter. So I'll go ahead and use this guy. And no, I'm not going to use that one anyway. I still have my stock one left over for the 480E. It's still in the box, the TCI box actually. But like I said, I'll go ahead and use this guy, and then yep, use this guy, use that transmission, and my transfer case. It doesn't take, I think I'll probably use that one because it's fucking cleaner. And then I have to fab up some new transmission lines, or some cooler lines. And I got to get the shift linkage from my other Silverado. Either that, or I can just modify this stuff. But aside from that, I think pretty much ready to rock and roll. I need some fucking oil dry, but then I can't fucking roll around with oil dry, so that's gonna be fucking awesome. But anyway, like I said, I'm gonna work on pull the transfer case over here and make sure I know which wiring goes where and all that shit before I get down there and start getting fucking confused. So hang on just a second. I decided that I think if I put it in 4 low, I think my speedo will be a little screwy if I put it in 4 low, or my shift deal might be a little screwy if I switch it to 4 low. So I just won't have accurate 4 low. I think I just put the vehicle output shaft speed sensor on the back of the transmission there, the main harness there, and all the other wires I mostly just plugged up. Okay, here's your if you have an older style TPS sensor, you can plug this directly in to the your TPS sensor, or the signal. You can go to the signal wire, which looks to me like it's the fucking middle one there. So you know what? Here's TBI. Here's that style of plug-in. If I was going TBI, if I could just plug in You know, they just plug in like that older style TBI. I've got the newer style, the round style instead of the flat style on the Holley sniper system. So I have a breakout connector that I'll just tap the, I guess it's a center one is the center one's a signal maybe. I don't know, I'll have to look at the colors and shit and see what makes sense. I think I've got black, white, and blue. Well, shit, actually it's round, so it's not really a fucking center wire. A black, gray, and blue. So I guess the blue might be the signal. I'm not entirely sure. I can look it up, but so that's gonna, one end's gonna plug into my sniper unit, one's gonna come to the sniper wiring shit, the harness, and then this, whichever the signal wire is gonna go to that wire there. That'll get me my TPS. I'll get my TAC signal, which that's actually that green wire right here. It goes to the TAC, which I don't even know if I got. I'm not sure what all I got going on, but that black wire should be, that green wire should be the signal wire for my TAC. Then I need those two. Yeah, throttle position, RPM, that'll give my speed, and then the rest goes to the actual transmission. So, you know what? Heck with it. I'll go ahead and wire everything up. There are some other specialty deals like performance mode and economy mode. You can have a switch that if you ground that wire, it'll actually change the shift procedures, the shift schedules to make it more aggressive. Like I said, there's a performance mode and a economy mode. So I think that's kind of cool that you can change that shit. Let's see here. What else? Manual shift mode, so you can set up paddle shifters, or even a switch for up and down. You can hold in your hand or something. Which whatever. If you ground it, it'll shift for you, up or down, whichever you fucking say. And there's also another wire. If you ground, that's the torque converter clutch. If you ground that wire, it'll lock up the converter clutch. So that's cool. So I can lock it up whenever I want. Anyway, just thought I'd show you some of the wiring, how fucking easy it is. Holy shit, man. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated than this for some reason, because there's a plug here, there's a plug here, and there's two plugs on the side of the transmission, plus the main plug. I thought, and fuck, even looking at it now, there's not that much shit, so. Anyway, yeah, the wiring is going to be super fucking easy. To get it going, all I need is those wires there. You don't need the performance economy mode stuff. You don't need the paddle shifting stuff. You don't need the torque converter clutch stuff. So I mean, it's to get it running, you don't need any of that shit, which I'm gonna, of course, you know me, I'm gonna fuck with that stuff, of course. So, but yeah, for right now, no, I don't need it. So just to get the thing on the road. So I might see about the wiring some stuff in for like I said, the TAC and the wiring shit in for the TAC and for the TPS real quick, and just see how the shit's looking, and maybe do a quick program of it and just see kind of what shit's kind of looking like. And I might show you that real quick before I even bolt anything up, because that fucking converter is heavy as shit, and it has to be on there when I actually when I put the transmission in. So that thing's fucking heavy. That thing's fucking heavy. Fuck, even that 400 is fucking heavy. I mean, goddamn, maybe I'm turning into a puss. But if you're laying on your fucking back trying to manhandle a motherfucker up there, Gets a little heavy. So yeah, I know lowering that bastard down last night was a pain in the fucking ass. I spilled shit fucking everywhere. It was just fucking fighting. The bell housing bolt's tight. I put new bolts in it instead of, there were studs with nuts on them and shit. Dude, fuck that when you're trying to line everything all up. I made my own 2 studs and by cutting the heads off of bolts. And anyway, yep, she's bolted in right now. All I got to do is bolt or plug into this sensor, the rear sensor here, and the main harness, and everything else should work out pretty well for it. That's the only thing I actually need to plug into here. I do need to mess with my, you can't really see them. I got some stubs of transmission cooler lines, one on my middle finger, one on my index finger. Yeah, and aside from that, I need to plug in little stuff like for my front axle for 4-wheel drive shit. Yeah, just a bunch of little stuff. This, I believe, will go to my transfer case for my, yeah, it'll go to my transfer case. And, yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of plugging along. Got my starter put back in. Flex plate bolts, or torque converter bolts are in the flex plate. I got Loctite on them and shit, or thread locker. Anyway, just kind of chugging along. This thing, I guess I'm not the fucking beast I used to be. This thing, this transmission's fucking heavy, man, especially with that big ass torque converter in there with fluid in it and everything. Yeah, I couldn't. I tried lifting it into place by just laying on my back and putting it kind of half-ass on my knees, I guess, which it wasn't quite tall enough to be on my knees. Like if I was on, if I wasn't on a creeper, I was laying down in the shit, then I could probably do it. But dude, fuck that, man. So I actually got a jack and some straps and stuff, and had just enough height on it that I could, which it's a little sketchy doing it on a non-transmission jack, but it, I got the job done. Like I said, I put a couple of studs in these lower holes on either side, and I think it was like a 2-inch bolt, maybe something like that. I cut the head off of and kind of bullet nosed it, so if I get close, it'll fucking come in. And yeah, like I said, everything fucking worked out great. So I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the back end of the transmission, and then work on slipping the cross member in. And I do have to move. Sorry, I do have to drill a couple of new holes. Actually, 4 new holes in the frame here, and I got some new 1/2-inch grade 8 bolts for it and everything. Which I guess I say for transmission or for drivetrain stuff, you only use grade 5, which that's what I use for the bell housing shit. But yeah, you can see a good shot of a bell. You know, this shot, I put new bell housing bolts in it. So yeah, so take 6. There's 6 bell housing bolts. I don't use the very top one anymore. Yeah, I'll just have to scoot this back just a couple inches. I showed, I think it's probably about 2.5 inches or so. So I'll just have to drill a new hole. I got a good sharp bit for it, and should be in pretty good shape as far as that goes. Both cross members are identical. The rear drive shaft is shorter. I haven't compared the front one yet, but the front one's a slip. It's a 2-piece. It's a slip style transmission or drive shaft. So I don't know how much, you know, tucking it in another inch and, or I guess no, it'd be extending it out about another 1 5/8 inches or so. I mean, it's not going to be that big of a difference, but I think that's what they said the length difference was, about 1 5/8 inches. I didn't actually measure, but whatever it is. Anyway, yep, I'm just gonna start, keep plugging along, working on my working on that transmission swap and shit. Roll this fucking window down. Working on transmission swap. I had to drill a little hole out because I broke a cotter pin off. It was rusted in the one of the steering linkage shafts. No big deal. I just got a cheap ass set of drill bits and drilled a new hole for it. I was going to try to drill out the old cotter pin, but it was jumping around and stuff on me, so I thought, fuck it, I'm drilling a new hole. It's like a 1/2 inch bar, so I'm fine. I have plenty of strength to just shift my fucking transmission. Yeah, aside from that, everything's going pretty smoothly. I was going to hold off on putting the front drive shaft in until I got that shift linkage taken care of. It's taken care of now, so I can throw that front drive shaft in. The difference between the drive shafts is pretty minimal. For some reason, the slip part is reversed on the. I mean, they're about the same length from what I could tell, but the I guess the male versus the female part of the slip, whatever, slip yoke. It's not a slip yoke. It's like an expanding drive shaft. It's slotted or whatever. I don't know how the fuck you even want to say it, but it was backwards. So like toward the rear of the rear of the drive shaft on my one from my 4L80E or from my 93 pickup versus my 1990 pickup. And to be honest, that might just be how they put them in. Somebody pulled both ends off and went to put the swap U-joints and just got them mixed up. That could be what happened. I mean, because they're the same length and they're the same. You know, I mean, instead of putting here, hang on just a second. Instead of putting this fixed yoke here for the transfer case over here, they put it over here. I mean, so one of them is backwards from the other one, but like I said, I'm going to go and use this guy. When I say expanding, I mean you should be able to, you should be able to slip it out. There's some flex in it. So anyway, I'm gonna slap the drive shaft in real quick, and then start filling shit with fluid. And then I got a little bit of wiring to do, and I'll be ready to rock and roll. So give me just a second. Goofy shit lately. I got a breakout harness, TPS breakout harness. There's 3 wires to go into it, but that plugs directly into my my TPS from my sniper system. Anyway, blue is the TPS signal. So you plug that into you splice that into the single wire. That's tack. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Splice that into your single wire TPS signal. If it'll zoom. There, hold on. There we go, kind of. Anyway, you splice that in there, cap these other 2 wires off. And then I need a tack signal. There we go, tack in, there we go. Need a tack signal going to it. Then I need positive, negative battery terminals, and then I need a switch 12 volt. So I got 5 wires to splice in real quick, and then we're off to the fucking races, man. I already filled the transmission with, there's my dipstick tube, and my dipstick. I already filled it with, I went ahead and threw 7 quarts in it. Filled my transfer case with Mobil 1 ATF. I used Valvoline Max Life, full synthetic for this time. The transmission's been sitting a while. I figure I'll run that stuff for a while. I mean, it's not bad fluid at all, but I'll run it for a little bit, get the system all kind of flushed out, and change the fluid and filter again. And I've got a dozen quarts of Mobil 1 ATF, the full synthetic shit, sitting over there ready to go in. I didn't want to use it right away. I do definitely want to use it, but I didn't want to use it right away, like I said. So I will, there's a power hat, makes it a little better, I guess, huh? Didn't want to use it right away, so we'll flush some shit out and then use that good stuff. So there's the supercharger. Hey-o. And I think I can take that charcoal canister out. I think I can fit a an air-to-water intercooler in there, hopefully. And then you go around, yeah, hopefully I can get something going there. Maybe peel around this way, and then I'm not entirely sure. I'll figure something out. There's a kit online for about $500. Includes a radiator, which I can throw in the front corner of my actual radiator, a water pump, lines, and that air-to-water intercooler. So, I mean, I'll have to get some piping, but aside from that, it should be everything I need. And then I'd like to get my air filter away from my header, because I'm sure sucking in that hot-ass air ain't really doing it too many favors, especially after I've been really getting on it and shit. And then pull up to a stoplight or something. Just heat just radiating off those damn headers. So anyway, I got my transmission cooler lines bent up. I've got wiring fucking everywhere, but let's just get this cocksucker going. So, hey guys, just got, oh shit, here's an internal wiring harness for 4L80E. There's the transmission sensor, or the temp sensor, I mean. Well, when I installed it, the shift linkage for the 4-wheel drive was hanging down just wrong, and it squished this when I was drilling new holes for the transmission cross member. So I got to drain the fluid. I got to put this harness in real quick. It's pretty simple. There's only 5 connections on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're pretty clearly labeled and shit. I guess they only go on one way and shit. So anyway, O-ring seal on it and everything. This was starting to kind of want to go in when I plugged in my transmission controller, and it's an O-ring seal, and so if this, backs itself off fully inside the transmission, I'm just gonna have a fucking 1.25 hole, open hole in my transmission. Maybe that's probably about 1.25. Anyway, gonna have an open fucking hole in my transmission, so ATF will just be able to leak out, and then it'll probably go into limp mode and only be stuck in second fucking gear and all that shit. So I'm gonna pull the pan, slap this internal wiring harness on, and then I'll be right back. Luckily I put a transmission drain pan or drain plug in back in 05, I'm gonna say, when this transmission was in my other truck. So that pan is good. All I gotta do is drain it out, and then I can put the brand new ATF back into my the jugs, so I can save it a lot easier than just dropping the pan, and it's going to be a hell of a lot easier and quicker. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug and try to save shit as best I can, and we'll go from there. Take it on a test drive. That's where I've got that mounted. Oh shit, let's turn around so I'm not fucking backing out of here. I might have my transmission controller set shift too high. I really don't know yet. Buckle up for safety. Yeah, it's a little weird with a stall converter again. Man, that thing is bright as shit. I wish there was a brightness option on that thing. So I could always just unplug it, I guess. Wow. Second gear hits like a hammer. Anyways, this is where I used to do my 0 to 60 stuff. So we'll just we're up the temperature. Second gear run. God damn. Damn it. I broke a wire somewhere. Either the main power to the battery, the main ground to the battery, or the switch power. I had a bunch of zip ties on it, and then I didn't have the right size. I didn't have a pair of dikes on me, so I just used a pair of needle nose pliers, twisted and yanked the zip ties off, and I think I broke a fucking wire in the main harness. So tomorrow I'm going to replace a big long section of wire on both the ground and well, both switch ground and both positive and negative battery terminals or cables. Power wires, the wires going to the battery, and the switch 12 volt wire. I'm gonna change all three of them. It'll probably be 10 foot of wire. I don't know. That'll be more than that. It'll maybe 10 foot total. We'll see. Anyway, so I got that going for me. I took it out and it worked awesome at the start, and then went to my 0 to 60 spot after the motor was warmed up, and it wouldn't. I went to my 0 to 60 spot when the motor was warmed up, and that was the shittiest launch I've ever had in my fucking life. That no balls. Like that's not like this truck at all. So I was getting a communication error on the handheld. So I'm like, oh well, fuck. Okay. So yeah, it's all you got to do is yeah. So that was kind of disappointing. I did very light troubleshooting, and then I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna hit it tomorrow. So yeah, the second gear hits like a fucking sledgehammer. I need to kind of go through and adjust some shift points and shit, adjust some firmness. There's a bunch of different settings you can change and stuff. So once I figure out what the hell's going on, I mean, the second gear hits fucking hard. So, which I do have a B&M shift kit in there. I don't remember hitting that hard before. So maybe it fucking did. I don't remember. That was 15 fucking years ago. Not quite 15, but still. It shifted hard before, but now it's I mean, it like 10% throttle. It fucking, I don't even think it was 10%. It hit fucking hard. So, anyway, almost home now, and I will mess with it in the morning and drive the thing a little more. Like, yeah, I was going 55 mile an hour at 1900 RPMs. So, there with the converter clutch locked up, and yeah, I mean it seems to run pretty good. I mean, it downshifts hard, I mean, it runs great when it's not just locked in fucking third gear. So, anyway, yep, to be continued.